Good evening.
Good evening. Not a good evening.
Right, so in stark contrast to the last video, we have just this second finished watching Night Terrors. Our children decided they would not watch Night Terrors with us because they had seen the Next Time trailer from Let's Kill Hitler, and both felt they would be petrified. But me and Lib are hardcore, aren't we, Lib?
No.
I have just had a very interesting experience because I genuinely could remember nothing about Night Terrors. Not just intricacies of plot. I could remember vague moments, probably anything that was in the Next Time trailer, but I couldn't remember a single thing about it. And so I've just had one of those magnificent experiences that increasingly happens very, very rarely, which is a weird sentence now I've said it out loud, of watching a Doctor Who episode almost for the first time again, which of course is in the spirit of, what I've been trying to do with this silly sequence of videos for however long. So I'll get the negative out of the way, and the negative is that Amy and Rory have just, in the space of, in their own lives, had a pregnancy and child sprung upon them, which is, something of an experience, and then had the life as parents with that child taken from them very, very abruptly. Now,
I was going to make the same point.
I don't think you can underplay that. And this is when I've been suggesting in previous videos that I think Moffat is pushing very hard at what Doctor Who can do. I think it would take two very remarkably strange people to not have some quite deep psychological effects from that. And maybe that we'll see that floating up in future episodes. But this is business as usual to a certain extent. And there is something a little bit weird about that. Now, I'm prepared to give it a pass here. And the reason I'm prepared to give it a pass is because nobody on this planet has had quite the experience of parenthood that Amy and Rory have had. Okay, they know more about their child than most people know about their children at this point in their lives. So I can't really judge, but I wouldn't be doing this properly if I didn't say that's a bit odd. It's even more odd when the major theme of this story really is parenthood. And I find it a little bit peculiar. That's some odd sequencing going on there. The idea that we're going to jump from the stolen parenthood of Amy and Rory to this that has got, the importance of the power of parenthood writ large in it, without any reference to it really in the story. A little bit weird that. But again, I'm going to cut this some slack because, honestly, truthfully, that was an absolutely joyous experience on so many levels. Now I know that Libby, when she decides to chime in on this video, will make some reference to how she felt that was a somewhat scary episode of Doctor Who.
It was too frightening, that one.
I didn't in any way find it frightening, and you got to bear in mind. No, not at all. No, not at all. I genuinely didn't. I think it played with the trappings of being a frightening story. It's a freaking lullaby. It's all just, oh man. I can see how it could be interpreted as frightening, and it would frighten the chuff out of my kids. But I didn't find that. I didn't find that in the slightest bit frightening. But I don't find Doctor Who frightening because it's Doctor Who. It's my thing. So there we go. What I did find really odd.
Nice.
What?
What was that noise?
It's the rain outside. What I did find very odd, tonally, is this is a very humdrum, very normal setting for Matt Smith's tenure as the Doctor. The last time we were on a council estate was, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, Rose Tyler. Have we done council estate since the Powell estate? And of course, as I've stated before, the time before that was Survival. This isn't a very regular place for us to hang out in Doctor Who. It's the rain. Stop getting freaked out. This isn't a very regular place for us to be in Doctor Who. And even more so with Matt Smith's Doctor, who kind of embodies the magic of the Doctor.
He
Embodies it more than any other. So, and also, Amy and Rory, I have to be perfectly honest, I felt Rory was a little bit rude about being on a council estate. I know you've grown up in Ledworth, Rory, but there's an awful lot of people who live like that. That's fine. I'll forgive Rory anything because Rory's brilliant in this story. Amy's wonderful in this story as well. But we're just going to... Stop it. Stop being on the I don't like Amy train. Nobody thinks it's cool.
I just don't think they did quite as much as they could have.
But Rory was brilliant. Rory was amazing. He was genuinely funny. It was class.
I thought the timing between the Doctor and the dad was brilliant.
My gosh, what a double act you got there. So Danny Mays,
Is that his name?
yeah.
Have you seen him in?
So you've seen him, I think, in Des, the David Tennant thing that you always forget that you've watched, where he hid people.
Des Lynam?
No, not Des Lynam, where he hid people in a drain pipe and stuff like that. Anyway, I think he played the policeman in that, but I refuse to watch that because that would scare me. But that's by the by. Anyway, so that is look. This is hard to get right. This is hard because what Danny Mays has got to do, he's got to show a dad at the end of his tether, and dads at the end of the tether are uncomfortable viewing. Right? I've been a dad now and again at the end of my tether, and it's not nice to be on the inside of it or the outside of it. What you want from your dads in Doctor Who is to be solid.
Danny Mays has got the same birthday as me.
Oh, nice. What you want from what you want from your dads in Doctor Who is to be solid, reliable people looking out for their kids. We've had Fear Her, don't forget, where that wasn't the case, and that was a deeply uncomfortable setting. But Danny Mays does the most amazing job here. Like at the start, you do feel that he's perhaps not doing the best for his kid. And that moment as well, where he tries to insist that the Doctor leaves, and Matt Smith's just not having any of it. And there is genuinely a sense of tension there. There's some fantastic camera work in the story as well. There's some really good transitions from place to place. But that bit with the Doctor and Danny Mays in the kitchen, the camera keeps sort of like... changing its perspective in a peculiar way. And it is quite an unsettling moment because usually the Doctor doesn't notice, or if he does notice, he just goes with it. But normally the programme goes in the wake of the Doctor just making everything okay. This is, and I know this is an old, tired piece of criticism, this is the fairy tale period of Doctor Who, isn't it? That's what it was sold as, to a certain extent, by Moffat to Tennant, before Tennant decided he wasn't going to stick around. You know, this fairy... But this is... the fairy tale breaking through to reality. That is a massive part of this story, isn't it, quite frankly? So the fact that the Doctor... Look, Danny Mays is given the opportunity to play this dad who's at the end of his tether, who doesn't know what to do, thinks he's doing the right thing. And I'll level with you. I've been a dad thinking I'm doing the right thing. And then with hindsight, perhaps even in the moment thinking, this isn't the right thing, this isn't the right thing. And it's really hard. It's a hard place to be. And I think Danny Mays does the most amazing job of, and bless when the landlord comes around and starts insisting for his money. And it's a brilliant performance, an absolutely brilliant performance. And the double act he forms with Matt Smith here, where that's the point of the story, isn't it? Where by the end of it, Matt Smith has to restore the joy of fatherhood, even in the most unusual circumstances, to Alex, so that he can be a fantastic father for George. And that moment, and it got me, because I cry all the time, and I tell you that all the time, but when he cuddles his son at the end, and it's just that, oh my gosh. And that is the most, because, yes.
I was going to say, one of the things I find scariest as well is children when they're scared and upset.
Oh yeah, terribly. And what a fine job the programme did of presenting us with
a lovely character.
Oh, and he was so, terror. Now, I think I've been that kid lying in bed terrified. Have you been that kid lying in bed terrified?
I think it's straight away into the forefront of my feelings.
And sadly, that is a situation that children find themselves in, and it's uncomfortable because on one hand you're thinking, I will do anything I can to make my child okay. We know that. We feel that every day.
We live that.
But yeah. But on the flip side, you also know that this is a phase. Or at least, is that my generation that feels that way? Mm-hmm. Is it though?
Go to therapy, do you say?
Well, I mean, let's not be churlish about it, because I do think that we need to be more attentive to people's fears and worries and things like that. But on the flip side, there is a part of me, a small percentage of me that thinks this is something that you have to live with fear now and again. Crikey, look at the news. Every morning I live with fear. But, okay. So the programme does this most amazing job as presenting us with this very real feeling relationship, even it's very unreal, this kid is an alien, and then, but that's made to feel real. The truth of the fiction there, the truth of that feeling is writ large, and that is almost too much for the programme. I think the first time we watched this, I thought that was too much for Doctor Who. And I wonder whether this is why I've kind of forgotten about Night Terrors. Because maybe in the maelstrom of me becoming a dad, yeah, that is this timeline, isn't it? Me becoming a dad, this particular sequence of stories where we get the idea of being a parent that's absolutely at the forefront of Doctor Who right now. And then we get this episode, sequenced weirdly, where the idea of being a dad, struggling, is dropped there. Maybe there's some sort of mental block here that I've put this out of my mind. But this, it's almost too much for the programme. But at the heart of it, you get freaking Matt Smith. I'm telling you, lads. I like that phrase. It's not gender specific. I'm telling you, lads. No, I don't think it is in this context, so don't at me. People, I'm telling you, people, I think Matt Smith is, week on week, showing himself to be one of the best Doctors. And I think that this story would have defeated other Doctors. Like, Colin Baker couldn't do this story. No disrespect to Colin Baker. We love all the Doctors here. You know, Tom Baker.
I particularly love Colin Baker.
Yeah, I know you do. You're a Colin Baker stan. Tom Baker couldn't do this story because it needed a subtlety to the performance that, I mean, it's Tom. Pertwee couldn't do it. Trout could do it. Hartnell couldn't do it. Could Tennant have done this story? I don't think he could.
No, because I think it reflects something of the childlike Doctor.
That's it. I've got old eyes, he says.
Old eyes, but he's a child.
But he's a child within it, and he
Jodie could have done it.
Jodie could have done it, but you've got that.
Big insights over here, dude.
Oh, it's honestly, I'm going to have to stop because you don't want to. I mean, if you've lasted this long, you know, you masochist, what are you doing? That was a really brilliant experience for me because I had forgotten completely. And in the story of this Doctor, just going to help a kid out. He didn't know. He just had to go and do it. Got to help this kid out. Off we go. Normally saving planets. This somebody needs my help. What a doctorly thing to do. And just being able to see this again with almost fresh eyes. Genuinely, this is going to happen more and more, people, because I've forgotten a lot after this point, weirdly. There's a lot that I've forgotten. So to have this again afresh, that was a joyous experience. It was a meditation on parenthood. I don't want to sound exclusive when I do think it's a meditation on fatherhood. You know, I, as a father, you know, I live with the most amazing mother in the world. But as a father, it's hard being a dad sometimes. And I genuinely got a sense of that. And I genuinely got a sense of the strength of that relationship between fathers and their children. Maybe specifically fathers and sons, I don't know. But that was an absolutely beautiful experience. I won't be showing it to my kids because they won't feel that. They will be petrified by the dolls, which are terrifying. The Trapped in the Doll's House. The music was exceptional all the way through. Murray Gold, this is the run of form of his life. Absolutely stunning. This was a genuinely top-rank, beautiful Doctor Who story. Why is this not talked about constantly? Absolutely amazing. What a Doctor Who story. Are we done? We're done. Good night.